Hello and a very warm welcome to all of you. I'm Neha Bhardwaj. This is Game On, where you get the latest from the world of sports and IPL. That's what we'll begin with today. An inconsistent Mumbai Indians will hope that their ace pacer, Jasprit Bumrah, returns to his menacing best, which is essential for them to stop an explosive Sunrisers Hyderabad batting unit in their tracks in a potentially high-scoring match at the Wankhede Stadium tomorrow. Coming off a 3-month-long injury layoff, Bumrah is yet to find the accuracy, which makes him a tough customer to deal with. After a rather tidy outing against Royal Challengers Bengaluru, Bumrah struggled to nail his Yorkers and was taken apart by Delhi Capitals' Karun Nair as he leaked 44 runs in that game. The 5-time champions will also want former captain Rohit Sharma to get back to his run-making ways at the earliest, as his current tally is an underwhelming 56 runs from 5 matches at an average of 11.20. It has played a massive role in them languishing at the 7th place in the points table with just 2 wins, and those results were largely built around the contributions of Suryakumar Yadav and Tilak Verma. Now, while Suryakumar Yadav has still not been at his brutal best, being retired out against Lucknow's Super Giants served as a wake-up call for Tilak Verma. After that difficult outing in Lucknow, Tilak has responded with scores of 56 in 29 balls and 59 of 33 deliveries to indicate his return to form. Namandhir, he remains a vital cog for MI as he's been given the role of an aggressor with the bat in the death overs. Interestingly, both MI and SRH were able to snap their disappointing run with impressive wins in their previous outings. But it remains to be seen if they are able to attain consistency, which will define their future in the competition. Nearing the halfway mark, the Sunrisers are also struggling to find that range, tottering at in the 9th position on points table with only net run rate separating the two teams after 4 losses and 2 wins in 6 matches each. But MI will have to be wary of Sunrisers Hyderabad's batters, who've given signs of finding back their mojo after a lull. Each of the top 4, Travis Head, Abhishek Sharma, Heinrich Klaasen and Kishan, they fired on all cylinders to stun Punjab Kings to give SRH their 2nd win of the season, as they scored nearly 250 runs for an 8-wicket win, with their batters finding their rhythm collectively. Coming off a splendid 55-ball 141, Abhishek will look to draw confidence from his last outing here at the Wankhede Stadium in February this year, when he took apart England's bowling to score 135 in the 5th T20I for India. Kishan too would be eager to make his outing against his former franchise count on what had been his home ground for several seasons. Now, the nature of the Wankhede Stadium pitch often ensures tall totals here, but the bowlers can look forward to some bounce off the surface. Punjab Kings did the unthinkable last night, defending the lowest ever total in the history of the Indian Premier League to beat defending champions Kolkata Knight Riders by 16 runs at the Maharaja Yadavindra Singh International Cricket Stadium in New Chandigarh. The hosts defended 111 runs as they bundled out KKR for 95 runs inside 16 overs to register a memorable win in front of a jam-packed crowd. After opting to bat first, Punjab were bundled out with just 111 in 15.3 overs as Harshit Rana, who got 3 for 25, Varun Chakravarti 2 for 21, Sunil Narayan 2 for 14 dismantled Punjab. In reply, KKR got all out for 95 in 15.1 overs as Yuzvendra Chahal, who got 4 for 28, and Marco Jansen 3 for 17, scripted a miracle in Mullanpur. The game beat the best of Bollywood scripts as the momentum shifted one way to the other with every delivery, giving fans a seesaw of emotions. KKR got off to a shaky start, but Ajinkya Rahane and Ankrish Raghuvanshi, they built a 55-run partnership, and KKR breathed a sigh of relief. They needed 52 runs to win from 78 balls. That's when the PBKS captain Shreyas Iyer threw the ball towards Yuzvendra Chahal, who had been in torrid form in the ongoing season. Now, Chahal managed to break the partnership by getting Ajinkya Rahane LBW. Rahane's dismissal was just the lucky break that Chahal needed, as the wrist spinner brought his A-game to the fore and made Kolkata batters bow in front of them. Ankrish Raghuvanshi He turned out to be his second scalp, who scored 37 of 28, who hit him straight to Xavier Bartlett at point. The other end, Glenn Maxwell also joined the party. He got Venkatesh Iyer LBW to leave KKR on 74 for 5 in 10.4 overs. Within no time, panic once again spread in the Kolkata dressing room as Chahal spun a web around their batting, dismissing Rinku Singh and Ramandeep Singh in his third over. Marco Jansen also made tail-ender Harshit Rana drag one back onto his stumps as Kolkata Knight Riders slumped from 72 for 3 to 79 for 8 in just 23 balls. If that was not enough drama, Andre Russell, he decided to take on Yuzvendra Chahal, smashing him for 2 sixes and a boundary to bring the required runs to win down to 17 of 33. However, Arshdeep Singh added more twist in the tail by bowling a wicket maiden against Vaibhav Arora, dismissing him for a 7-ball duck. Then, Marco Jansen hit the final nail in Kolkata's coffin as he made Russell drag one back onto his stumps to send the entire crowd into an absolute frenzy. It was jubilation all round in the PVKS camp as they continued to script history against KKR after chasing the highest ever IPL score in the previous season. Okay, let's move on to football and Champions League quarterfinals second leg. For Paris Saint-Germain, another brutal setback looked on the cards in the Champions League, but the French champions just about hung on. PSG staved off a gallant fight back by Aston Villa to reach the semi-finals of Europe's top competition despite a 3-2 loss to their English rivals on Tuesday. Holding a 3-1 lead from last week's quarterfinals first leg, PSG built a 4-goal cushion thanks to goals by fullbacks Ashraf Hakimi and Nuno Mendes inside 27 minutes at Villa Park. Villa, cheered on by Prince William, roared back thanks to a deflected shot before half-time by Yuri Tillmans, and then goals in a 2-minute span from John McGinn and Ezri Konsa by the 57th. Only a string of brilliant stops from PSG goalkeeper Gianluigi Donnarumma denied Villa a fourth goal. That would have taken the match to extra time and seen the French club blow another 4-goal lead, just like they did famously when losing to Barcelona in 2017, when current Villa manager Unai Emery was in charge of PSG. But PSG advanced 5-4 on aggregate to knock out a second Premier League team after Liverpool in the round of 16. Next up could be either Arsenal or Real Madrid, and Arsenal already are leading Real Madrid 3-0 from the first leg.
I am very happy to qualify again for the semi-finals. It is the second consecutive year, and I think it is a very positive aspect that will make us grow, make us improve, and I am delighted with the final result. I don't remember many moments in my career in which I have been so far ahead. But what did we expect? This is a competition in which the opponent can lose everything in that moment and has to take risks, has to attack more intensely, and they have been at that moment far superior to us. The atmosphere of the crowd was exceptional, but these are moments that force you grow, moments in which you have to know how to play, and I think my team has been mature enough to overcome those moments, and it was a test and experience to continue improving.
So PSG has advanced to the semi-finals for the third time in 5 seasons, and this time they've done it without their Galacticos, with Neymar, Lionel Messi and most recently Kylian Mbappe having left the club. There was as much relief as joy in the celebrations of PSG's players who are bidding to win the club's first Champions League title. They lost in the final to Bayern Munich in 2020 and they were eliminated in the semi-finals by Dortmund last season. So for Villa, they marked the end of the road in the club's first European Cup campaign since 1982-83 season, when they were the reigning champions. Now it's all about qualifying again, with Villa sitting in 7th place in the Premier League and a point off the Champions League qualification spot.
I am so proud, I am so happy, and I am really confident how we are doing this way, how we are increasing our standard, our demands, and how we are achieving the objective we can have. Of course, we are finishing here in quarter final, and hopefully we can come back again quick again to play in Champions League. This is the objective. This is the next objective we will have for the next 6 matches we want to play in Premier League, to get Europe and hopefully to get Champions League and to play in FA Cup as well for a trophy. And no more.
Moving on to the other big quarterfinal of the night, Serhou Guirassy and Borussia Dortmund did what no one else has been able to do in 2025. They beat Barcelona. However, it was still not enough to reach the Champions League semi-finals. Guirassy scored a hat-trick and still ended up on the losing side as Dortmund's 3-1 win over Barcelona wasn't enough to prevent a 5-3 aggregate loss. The Spanish club marched into the Champions League semi-finals despite their first defeat of the season. After being swept aside 4-0 in the first leg of the quarter-final, Dortmund had nothing to lose last night. They attacked Barcelona from the start, leaving the visitors off balance. Barcelona coach Hansi Flick, who has plenty of experience of facing and beating Dortmund from his time in the German league, said the passionate home crowd meant he'd expected a tough second leg despite his team's 4-goal lead.
We are in the semi-finals, and that's what it's all about. We had two matches that were judged, and we won 4-0, and here we lost 3-1. In the end, it's fair that we made it to the semis. We played against a team, a very good Dortmund team. They did a great job, and I don't want to talk too much about my team because that wouldn't do justice to Dortmund. Of course, we can play better, but they showed what great players they have in attack, and they made life really hard for us today. But in the end, the most important thing is that as I have said before, I am very, very satisfied, very proud of the team for what they have achieved so far. We are still competing in all three competitions, and we are in the Champions League semi-finals again after a long time.
Well, the host said that they were not going to go down easily, and that's exactly what Dortmund did. Guirassy is Dortmund's life insurance. That's what their coach Niko Kovac said after the game that continued his rapid rise to fame and left him the top of Champions League scoring list this season. For a while, Guirassy made the impossible seem possible. He made no mistake from the penalty spot in the 11th minute after Barcelona goalkeeper Wojciech Szczesny collided with Pascal Gross. His header made it 2-0 in the 49th minute before an own goal by Rami Bensebaini made Dortmund's task even harder. Fermin Lopez's low cross that went in off Bensebaini's ankle. A double disappointment for Dortmund because the defender had been crucial in the comeback attempt, assisting Guirassy's second goal shortly before. Guirassy then seized on Ronald Araujo's defensive error to complete his hat-trick with a powerful close-range shot in the 76th, in the process becoming the Champions League top scorer this season on 13 goals. It gave Dortmund fresh hope of completing what would have been one of the all-time great Champions League comebacks. One to rival Barcelona's against Paris Saint-Germain in 2017, but Barcelona held on to progress. Dortmund may have to wait a while until the Champions League anthem plays at its stadium again.
I think today we all saw a really great football match, especially from my team, from BVB. From the first to the last minute, we played with high intensity, great football with lots of good chances against a top team. And, of course, you are disappointed to be knocked out, but I am still happy and very satisfied. Proud of the boys for showing the face we have, the potential that's within us. Today we handed Barcelona in their first defeat of 2025, and that says a lot about the team's overall performance. So compliments to the team, we can really be very satisfied with the result.
Okay, let's look at the big quarterfinals coming up tonight. Arsenal trained at home yesterday before heading to Spain to face Real Madrid in the second leg of their Champions League quarterfinal. Arsenal midfielder Declan Rice, he scored two fantastic free kicks as the Premier League club secured a 3-0 victory over holders Real in the first leg at the Emirates Stadium last week to put one foot in the semis. However, the record 15 times European champions have won 6 Champions League titles since 2009 and have made it a habit of completing unlikely recoveries in the knockout stages of the competitions. Arsenal haven't conceded 3 or more goals in nearly 80 matches across all competitions since a 4-3 win at Luton in the Premier League in December 2023. The last time Arsenal lost by a 3-goal margin was when Brighton won 3-0 at Emirates Stadium nearly 3 years ago. Arsenal also haven't lost to Madrid in the team's 3 previous meetings and are the only side to have faced them 3 times in top European competition without conceding a goal. Arsenal are looking to reach the European League's semi-finals for the first time since 2009 when they were eliminated by Manchester United.
I wouldn't use that word. I mean, I think respect, admiration for what they've done in the competition as a club over the years, the history that they have, the values that they defend. Unbelievable, amazing, an inspiration for any coach, any manager, any team. But after that is the competition, is what we are going to face tomorrow, an opposition that we know very well and that we are determined to go out there and try to win the game. That we have to do it again, I think it's over 472 days or something like this, but it doesn't matter. We have to prove it now in this context. And that's the beauty of it, that's the challenge, and that's the great thing about sports. And that we've shown that we are capable of doing it, that has to give us reassurance and confidence that we can do it. And now, let's talk on the pitch and do it on the pitch. It's the only thing that matters.
What about Real Madrid? They will attempt to put on yet another special night at the Santiago Bernabeu and overturn that sizable deficit in their Champions League quarter-final tie with Arsenal. However, they are brilliant in the knockout stages of Champions League. We know that. Real Madrid coach Carlo Ancelotti, he praised Mikel Arteta's side, describing Arsenal as a well-organized team and said Real Madrid would need to be at their best to turn the tie around. Midfielder Jude Bellingham, he echoed his coach's remarks, saying the word most often heard in the Madrid dressing room in recent days, that has been remontada, Spanish for comeback. Bellingham, he highlighted that impact of Santiago Bernabeu atmosphere, saying the players feed off the energy from the crowd. Asked about the visible tension between players during matches, he said a degree of honesty and ruthlessness is necessary in order to perform at the highest level. The Spanish heavyweights have overturned deficits against Paris Saint-Germain, Manchester City and VfL Wolfsburg in recent years, with all 3 of those comebacks being staged in the iconic Bernabeu Stadium.
It's a team that really well organized, that Arteta is working with them for a long time, so they have a really clear idea, defensively, offensively. And when you have a clear idea, you are more focused on what you have to do than on the ambience outside.
Remontada. Honestly, I've heard it about 1 million times since last week. I've seen 1 million videos online and made by fans, made by kind of you guys, I suppose, and yeah, really motivating stuff. It's a night that's made for Real Madrid, a night that would go down in history, but also be something that people are familiar with around this part of the world. So. Yeah, hopefully we can add another special night. Energy inside the stadium that's infectious, and the players really thrive off that. They can almost sense that when the crowd are up for it, it's an even bigger game and it means more to them. So it brings a better level from us.
What about the other quarterfinal, Bayern Munich? They are hoping they will experience a glorious European evening in their Champions League quarterfinal return leg at Inter Milan on Wednesday as they bid to overturn a 2-1 first leg deficit. Bayern had close to 60% possession in the first leg against the treble-chasing Italians with 20 efforts towards the goal. But despite levelling in the 85th minute, they conceded an 88th minute goal through David Fratesi. They then played out a 2-2 draw against Borussia Dortmund in the league on Saturday, with Bundesliga leaders Bayern missing several players through injury. Their coach Vincent Kompany, He said that the game would come down to individual moments and that his team would go in to win it, as it does for any game, irrespective of their first leg home loss. The Bavarians, desperate to reach the Champions League final that will be played at their own Allianz Arena, will be without injured attacking midfielder Jamal Musiala, defenders Alphonso Davies, Dayot Upamecano and Hiroki Ito, as well as their keeper Manuel Neuer, among others. So they have a lot of injuries. The winners of the quarterfinal will face either Barcelona or Borussia Dortmund in the last four.
We are in April, middle of April, and we are one step away from the Champions League semi-final. We are 3 wins away from winning the Bundesliga. If that's not opportunity, then what is it? You know, so we live for the opportunity, nothing else.
I think there was a belief, even once we finished that game at the Allianz against Inter, there was a belief that, you know, we played a really good game and that we can definitely turn it around in the away leg. We still need to play at a top level to do that. But yeah, I can only lean on, you know, past experiences. I played in many quarterfinals, many big games, and been able to, you know, progress and help the team, whether it's not just goals, but whether it's, you know, in working hard, defending, passing, holding the ball up, whatever it may be. You know, I try and lead by example. So I feel like our team have had quite a lot of experience in big games already. There's quite a lot of experienced players, myself and Thomas and, you know, others who have been there and done it. So, yeah, we just have to go with a good mindset. You know, it's 90 minutes, maybe a bit more. But if we win the game, we have a big chance of qualifying. So that's all we can think about.
In fact, the winner of this quarterfinal tie, who will reach the semi-finals, will take on Barcelona, because Borussia Dortmund are already out. Now, Inter Milan, they have a 1-goal cushion in their quarterfinal with Bayern Munich after winning the first leg, but the Italian side must erase the scoreline from their minds for the return game, and this is what their coach Simone Inzaghi expects from them. Inter heads into this game with a 2-1 lead after that thrilling match in Germany. Substitute Thomas Müller, he appeared to have rescued a 1-1 draw for Bayern when he cancelled out Lautaro Martinez, his opener, 5 minutes from time. But David Frattassi, he scored the winner 3 minutes later. It was the German team's first home defeat in the competition, almost 4 years to the day. Now, Frattassi was booked for ripping off his jersey in celebration, and Bayern believes that the over-exuberance continued even after the final whistle. In fact, Harry Kane had spoken about it, but on the eve of the match, he played that whole controversy down. He said he didn't like the celebration, but also said that he didn't care for it. If Inter can repeat the heroics from last week, they will be in the Final Four. Inzaghi's side have been near impenetrable this season, and this when they are one of the oldest starting lineups in the Champions League. They've conceded only 3 goals in 11 Champions League games this season at an average of 0.27 goals per game, which is the best. So can Inter, can they actually remain unbeaten? That's the big question. They have been unbeaten in their past 14 Champions League home games. Can they see off Bayern and go all the way? They would surely hope so. But the clincher is that Bayern were the last team to beat them at San Siro and have never lost there. So this is an interesting matchup tonight. Inzaghi's side are 3 points clear of second-placed Napoli in the Serie A standings and have also made it to the Coppa Italia semi-finals. And with that, it's a wrap here on Game On. Hope you enjoyed it. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.